Hi everybody, I'm Erin Ween. I'll be your child's geometry teacher this year. In this video, I'm going to give you a little bit of information about myself and then a little bit of information about the class. And if you still have additional questions when I'm done with the video, you can get a hold of me. The best way would be to click on Canvas and go to the Contact Me page. And there you can send me a Canvas inbox, or you could also send me a message through school email or leave me a voicemail. So a little bit about myself. I am from Greenwood, Indiana. I went to Greenwood High School. After that, I graduated and went to Purdue University for 4 years. And then I ended up, as I was teaching, getting my master's degree from Ball State. I am married to Mark Ween, who is also a freshman teacher. He teaches English 9, so some of your kids may have him also. And we have 3 kids. Our oldest, Logan, just started his first year of teaching at Creekside Middle School. He's a 7th grade history teacher this year, so I'm super excited to have him in the field. My middle son, Camden, is going to be a junior at Purdue this year, and he's studying accounting. And my daughter is a senior at CHS this year. This is my 28th year at Carmel High School. I can't even believe that it's added up to that many. After I graduated from Purdue, I came straight here. This was my first job. The Freshman Center did not exist at that time. And so when they opened the Freshman Center, I actually volunteered to come over because I love the freshman age. They're cute, they're moldable, they're enthusiastic. I love being in the Freshman Center. It has a vibe to it that is unique. And so I've stayed here ever since coming over to the Freshman Center. Okay, so I'm going to move on to what we will be doing in class. So the first thing I want to show you is the students will need a calculator. And if they don't have a scientific calculator, this would be a good one for them to get. It just needs to have the sine, cosine, tangent button on it. You probably have one laying around the house. Just make sure and check in with your child that they have one and that they're bringing it to class. It's very difficult to do some of the mathematics that we're doing without a calculator. As far as cell phones, the cell phones, when the kids get into class, they put their cell phones and their AirPods and their smartwatches in their backpacks, and we put those in the back of the room. And that gets the cell phone away from your student and also allows me to be able to walk around the room a little easier once the backpacks are out of the room. So that's how I'm working with the cell phones this year, and so far it's worked really well. Okay, I want to give you guys just a quick snip of what in class would look like. So the first thing that happens is when the kids come in, I use a computer-generated program to put them into random groups of 3. So the kids will work with different kids each day, and it all depends on who the computer puts them with. Sometimes it's groups of 2, and sometimes it's groups of 4 also, but I shoot for groups of 3. Once they're in their random groups of 3, what happens is the kids will start discovering a way that mathematics that they're learning for the day relates to the real world. So what I do in the groups of 3 is I have the kids collaborate and talk and try to figure out what it is that we need this mathematics for. And after they come up with some ideas, I have them share all their ideas because there is not one way to do mathematics. And it's very interesting when you hear the kids share all the different ways of doing a topic, things that sometimes I've never even thought of. And once they collaborate and share those ideas, then kids can pick an idea or a way to do a problem or a way to do a topic that maybe it wasn't going to be the way that I showed them. So it's really cool to watch the kids come up with their own mathematical ideas. Once they come up with the ideas, I tweak and kind of consolidate that to make sure that they understand the gist of what's going on from what they have discovered. And once they have the gist of it, then they head to vertical white spaces. So these vertical white spaces are just dry erase boards hanging on the wall. So they'll take their group of 3 to a designated board, and they will try to see if they can apply the mathematics that they just learned and discovered and we went over at their desks. So this is where the fun begins because I get to walk around and see if they understand. I get to talk with them, have them explain things verbally. They're working and collaborating in groups. It's really pretty magical to see. And I have absolutely loved having them up at the boards. Being up at the boards does a couple things. It gets them out of their seats. It's learning naturally is better if you're standing up. You're a little more vibrant. You're a little more into it. And the 3 kids, when they put their minds together, the stuff they can come up with and achieve is wonderful. Once we've done some board work, that's usually anywhere from 25 to 30 minutes, they'll have a seat at their desk and they're going to then grab their workbook and see if they can take the material that they practiced and do it independently on their own. And this is important because when you collaborate with three, sometimes your ideas work so well together that you think you understand, but it's not until you try it on your own that you decide if you understand or not. So they finish class with trying to practice to see if they get the ideas on their own. Okay, so if your student is absent, that's another thing I wanted to talk about. What I would have them, and I've shown them this, what I would have them do is get on Canvas and go through the module piece by piece to teach themselves what they missed. They really want to try to do this before they come in for the next class so they don't feel overwhelmed and behind. I would estimate they would need to spend about an hour going through the material. They've missed 90 minutes. They can probably in an hour catch on to what they're doing. But please make sure if they're absent that they're getting on and completing that so they don't feel like when they come back they're lost on what we had done in the class they missed. Also, once they get back, if they have questions, they're welcome to come in to get help from me, and I'm going to talk about that next. In order for your kid to get help from me, our class is very interactive. They can totally ask questions in class. It's an open classroom, and the kids are allowed to ask questions at any time. If they need extended help, they can go into Canvas, and in my modules, we'll tell them how to open these personal tutor videos that they can watch over the lesson. So it's our textbook company that has attached videos, and that's always a great resource if they're stuck or absent for a lesson. They can also come in to SSRT. They are welcome to get a pass from me. I also have a full-time tutor. Her name's Elena, and she was with me last year. She was a geometry student of mine. She has volunteered her time to help tutor. She's very knowledgeable. So that would be another option, is to work with Elena or me during SSRT. And finally, I am here early before school. I know a lot of kids don't like to do that, but I am here usually by 8:25. So they're welcome to just pop in and ask a question or come in for additional help in the mornings. As far as grades, their grades will be made up of summative and formative. So summative will be 85% of their grades, and that will, or their grade, and that will be their tests. So they'll have one chapter test each module, and we usually have about 12 for the school year. And they will not be taking quizzes, just the tests. So those tests will go in for 85% of their grade, and then the 15% will be made up of, I'm giving them credit for working in groups well, because I want the collaboration to be really strong. So they'll get credit for that. And then also, almost each night, they'll have a short homework assignment, and that homework assignment will also go into their 15%. And a little blurb about the homework. I try to keep it short. I try to keep it under 20 minutes. I need them, it's called Check Your Understanding, CYU, so that they can see if they understand. That kind of gives them an indication if they need to come in and get help from me in any of those times that I mentioned. So if you could check PowerSchool occasionally, I do keep grades super updated. They're updated every day. So if you get on PowerSchool and see that your child is missing homeworks, those are essential to make sure they get the practice they need for those assessments that create 85% of their grade. Relearning and retesting. So I am definitely available for students to relearn and retest. So I just ask that they do two things. Number one, I need them to complete the Check Your Understanding homeworks every day on time. So if the student is keeping up with their homework and able to get that done, then that tells me that they're staying up with the class and able to put in the effort that's needed to see if they understand before the assessment. The second thing I ask is that they collaborate in groups well. So I need them to work together at the desks. I need them to work together at the boards. And that is another essential part of class. That's how they get a lot of their learning, is in the groups along with me supporting them. So I need them to be active in their groups. And if they do those two things, turn their homework in on time and are active in their groups, then I'm absolutely willing for them to come in, relearn, retake portions or all of a test if they need to, and work it out on a case-by-case basis with your student if they need that. Okay, so finally, my goals for this year. My goal is for your kid to love math. So I always tell them on the first couple of days, I want math to be your favorite subject, and they groan and act like that won't happen. And then as the year goes on and we work through these groups and the kids are learning really well, sometimes kids will flip and say, wow, I was surprised that I enjoyed class as much as I did. So my goal is that they enjoy class and they want to come to class. I want to build confidence. I think sometimes the kids think they can't do math and their confidence is low. So my goal is for them to leave my classroom feeling like they're more empowered and better at math than they ever thought they could be. I also encourage them to look into math fields because math fields, we need good mathematicians. And once they figure out that they are able to learn it and do very well, then I suggest to them always to check out the math fields and see if they want to go into something like that. I also want them to be able to take risks. A lot of times in a traditional classroom, we'll feed them information. If the students generate the information themselves, they're more willing to take risks. So my hope is that they'll take risks, learn from their mistakes, and just feel really good at the end of the year that they've been successful in geometry. So that's a little bit about me and a little bit about the class. If you have any other questions, I do have on my Canvas page a class policies list. That if you want any of the nuts and bolts of the class, that is linked to my Canvas page under class information. If you'd like to read that, you can, and then reach out with any questions that you have. Thank you so much for tuning in.